Year 2 and welcome to your second week of fractions maths. Today is Monday the 29th of June 2020 and today we're going to focus on naming fractions. So you'll need some blank paper and a pencil and you'll need a partner to talk to, and we're going to use your 2B workbook today. We're not going to mark your maths from the last lesson from last Thursday because Miss Gardner and I have had a chance to look at what you did on Class Dojo and we are amazed. You are all doing really well with fractions. Fantastic. So we're going to start off with our InFocus problem today that has Ravi and Ruby both looking at a fraction. Ravi says this whole thing is 1, and Ruby says, I think the shaded part is half. We want to know who is correct. It could be one of them, it could be both of them, neither of them might be correct, but I want you to pause the video here and have a chat with your partner. Who do you think is correct and why? We're going to come back to that problem at the end of this lesson because really what both of those children are trying to do is name the fraction. And we know lots and lots of fractions. All of them have a number on the bottom and all of them have a number on the top. And those two numbers are what help us to name fractions. What we're going to start off with is the denominator. The denominator is the number on the bottom. We can use D for denominator and D for down on the bottom to help us remember. But the best way to remember is to remember that denominator means the namer. And if we remember our Spanish, name or my name in Spanish is mi nombre. My name. Denominator is talking about the name of the fraction. So the number on the bottom of each fraction, it's a bit like telling you the surname, the family name of a fraction. So if it has 2 on the bottom, that tells you it's half. We're talking about a shape or an amount that have been shared into 2 equal groups. If it's got 4 on the bottom, that tells you it's part of the quarters or the fourths family. Something has been shared into 4 equal parts. So we can have a look at lots of different shapes, and even before we know which parts are going to be shaded, if any, we can already figure out the denominator, the name. So in this rectangle there are 3 equal parts and all of them add up to make one whole. So the whole big rectangle is 1 and it's got 3 equal parts inside. The name of each part is a third, so the denominator, the number on the bottom, is 3. We don't know what's on top yet, what would go in that blue square, because nothing has been shaded in. But already we know that this is part of the thirds family. Here, the rectangle has been shared into 2 equal parts. Those 2 equal parts add together to make one whole. So the name of each part is a half, and the denominator is 2. The number on the bottom of our fraction is 2, because there are 2 equal parts. Here, the rectangle has been divided into 4 equal parts. The name of each part is a quarter or a fourth. With fractions, apart from half, we can always figure out the name by just adding th onto the end of the number. So this is a 4. Quarter sounds like it doesn't make any sense. Where does that word come from? Fourth makes sense. But again, if you think of your Spanish, the Spanish for 4 is cuatro. So that's quite similar to quarter. The denominator of this fraction will be 4 because there are 4 equal parts. No matter how many parts get shaded in, 4 is always going to be the denominator. wonder if you can have a go at these two shapes now. Two shapes that have been divided into equal parts. Can you have a look at them with your partner, pause the video and see if you can figure out what numbers and words should go in those blue spaces? Remember, we're thinking about the denominator, the number on the bottom that will give us the name of the type of family of fraction. You can pause the video here. Well done if you got these. So the circle has 4 equal parts that make up one whole circle. The name of each part is a fourth or a quarter, and the denominator is 4. For the diamond, there are 2 equal parts, 2 equal triangles that add together to make one whole diamond. The name of each part is a half, and the denominator is 2. Because there are 2 equal parts, we're talking about halves. Of course, there's also the number on top. We call that number the numerator. So I've underlined the num part of numerator because that reminds us of number. This is where we count the number or the amount of parts that have been shaded or that we're using. The bottom number was the denominator, it told us what family. The numerator tells us how many of that family we're talking about. So in this rectangle, it has 2 equal parts. One part has been shaded in. So the numerator is 1. The denominator on the bottom is 2 because there are 2 equal parts. So we write this as 1 over 2. Half has been shaded in. Here, the same rectangle has both parts shaded in. So these are 2 halves. So here the numerator is 2 because the 2 of them have been shaded in. The denominator is still 2 because there are still 2 equal parts, but this time the numerator is 2 because the 2 sides have been shaded in. Here we've got 1/3. There are 3/3 to add up to make the whole rectangle, but only one of them has been shaded in. So the numerator is 1. We write 1/3 as 1 over 3. Here, these are 2/3 that have been shaded in. So the numerator on top is 2. Here we've got 3/4. Can you figure out what the numerator is? It's 3. 3 of those fourths, or 3 of those quarters, are shaded in here, so there are 3. And I wonder if you can figure out the numerator here. How many of those fourths or quarters are shaded? That's right, it was 2. 2/4 or 2 quarters, so the numerator, the number on top, is 2. So, for your guided practice, I would like you to have a look at these 4 shapes and tell me what is the numerator, what is the denominator, what each part is called, and what fraction is shaded. So really think carefully about what those words numerator and denominator mean. I know they're long words and they're very tricky to say. I've made a lot of mistakes trying to say them myself, so you might want to spend a few minutes just practicing saying them over and over again. But really think about what each word means. The numerator is how many of that fraction there are. The denominator, think of nombre, what name, what is the family of fractions that we're talking about. Good luck. Okay, let's have a look at some of the answers that you and your partner might have gotten. For the purple shape, the numerator was 2. We count 2 purple parts. The denominator is 3. there are 3 equal parts in total, so we're talking about thirds. Each part is called a third. So the fraction shaded is 2/3, 2 over 3. We can go to the green shape now. The numerator is 2. We count 2 green parts have been shaded. The denominator is 4. In total there are 4 equal parts, so it's part of the fourths family or the quarters family. So the fraction that's been shaded green is 2/4 or 2/4. We write that as 2 over 4. For the orange shape, the numerator is 1, just 1 part has been shaded in, and the denominator is 2 because there are 2 equal parts in total. Each of those parts is called a half, and the fraction shaded is a half or 1 over 2. Now this last one was tricky, but if you think about what numerator and denominator mean, we should be able to figure it out. Numerator, how many parts have been shaded? 1. Denominator, how many parts are there in total? What family is this part of? Well, there's just 1 equal part. Each part is called a whole. The whole thing is a whole. The fraction shaded is 1 over 1. So there is 1 part and 1 of it has been shaded in. It's 1 over 1. So now it's time for your independent work. It's in your 2B workbook and it's pages 103 and 104. Again, it's given you different pictures of fractions and you need to fill in the blanks to complete the sentences. Think very carefully about what numerator means and what denominator means. It might help you to have the screens showing you what the numerators are and the denominators are up on the video, paused, to help you remember as you're doing your work. If you'd like to do some challenges, there are 2 options. The first one is to go back to that problem that we talked about at the very start, our InFocus problem with Ravi and Ruby. Now that we've learned about the denominators and the numerators, my challenge for you is, can you write an answer to explain that problem using the words denominator and numerator to help you explain? Or can you use your knowledge of denominators and numerators to figure out these quite tricky fractions? Even if you can't think of the name for them, you can still figure out how to write them by thinking about the denominator on the bottom, what type of family it's from, and the numerator, how many are shaded. Good luck, Year 2!